What's up? It's Don't Accept Reality, and today we're going to discuss the 3 ways you as the buyer can lose your EMD. And this is huge for first-time home buyers, second-time home buyers, whoever. You have to know these ways so that way you can avoid them. And for those that do not know what EMD stands for, EMD is the earnest money deposit. And the earnest money deposit is good faith money. It's a way for the buyers to show the sellers that I'm very interested in the home and I'm not going to waste your time. It's a deposit that the buyers are making to the sellers, basically just to buy some time in terms of securing finances, appraisals, inspections, and going through that whole process. But if you do waste the time, then the money becomes non-refundable. EMD is refundable, but it can become non-refundable. And that's when we jump into those 3 ways that you can lose your EMD. And the first way that you can lose your EMD is by waiving contingencies prematurely. So what that means basically is contingencies, for those that don't know, is basically buyer's protection in a sense if things go south. So by the buyer having contingencies in place, you're kind of protecting your EMD. And if you waive your contingencies prematurely before anything happens, like a lot of people think, oh, I've already secured the pre-approval letter, I've secured the funds. Not necessarily. A lot of things can happen from the time you do the pre-approval letter to the time that you make an offer on the home and actually start that home buying process. You can make a bad transaction that could jeopardize the funds that you were supposed to secure for the loan. And now you don't have the financing secured. And now that you've placed that offer on that home and it's been accepted, you might not get the EMD back. So you want to make sure that you have contingencies in place. Talk to your realtor. Make sure you have some contingencies in place. Sellers don't really like contingencies, but it's a safety net for buyers, just to protect that EMD, because EMD is a lot of money. And depending on the house, EMD can range from 1 to 10% of the sales price of the home. And a lot of people don't have 1 to 10% of 300,000, just lying around, or are willing to just lose that, so you want to make sure that you have contingencies in place to protect that. So not having contingencies in your deal prematurely, you're going to lose your EMD. You want to make sure you have those contingencies in place to protect your EMD money, or it's going to be a long time before you can purchase a home, because you're going to need EMD to make offers on homes or to start a contract. EMD is essential to every deal when it comes to real estate. And the second way that you can lose your EMD is just ignoring the contract timeline. So the contract timeline, say the sellers are trying to close within 60 days or 45 days, or you don't have your financing up to par, or the inspection is not ready to take place, and the appraisal is late. All these things can delay the timeline and the flow of everything. And by you not sticking to the timeline and keeping your sellers up to date and the listing agent, you can lose your EMD. The sellers are in a time crunch. They're trying to sell their house. They don't want to make an extra mortgage payment if they don't have to. And they won't have to make an extra mortgage payment, because guess what? They're going to take your EMD if you guys are not on the same page and you are not abiding by the timeline that is listed in the contract. So make sure that you and your realtor are on point and are following the timeline of the contract, because you're going to put your EMD at risk if you're not hitting all those dates in adequate fashion. Making sure that your inspection takes place on time, your appraisal, and that the closing can happen on time. Some of the stuff can be out of your control. I get it, but if you're setting these appointments and you're booking everything and you're on point and your lender's on point, there shouldn't be any issue there. But in some cases, it does go bad, where timelines get messed up and you run the risk of losing your EMD. So just stay on point, try to hit those marks, hit all those dates, and just follow the contract timeline so you can avoid losing that EMD. And the third way that you can lose your EMD is the easiest way to lose your EMD, and that's just getting cold feet and deciding that the home isn't the one. By you deciding the home isn't the one after you've already done the appraisal, done the inspection, got the contract approved, and underwriting and everything is looking over the home and all the different terms and stuff like that, and then you say, hey, I don't want this home anymore. You're wasting the seller's time. You're going to lose that EMD you wasted everybody's time in a sense. So that's why I tell anybody, don't make an offer on a home or get a contract started on a home that you're unsure about. You want to make sure that it's the home that you want and you're ready to pursue this process with, because you don't want to get started and waste somebody else's time. Time is money, especially in real estate. So you don't want to waste the seller's time and lose that EMD. So those are really the 3 ways that you can lose your EMD. And those 3 ways are really common, but just communicating, sticking to the timeline, and making sure that the home is the one that you really want. Losing your EMD is very avoidable. It's easily refundable. You'll get your EMD back. Just make sure that, I'm gonna say it one more time, make sure that your communication is on point, that you're hitting those marks, you're hitting those timelines, you're checking every timeline, and that you're not wasting anybody's time, and it's the home that you really want. That's how you don't lose your EMD. Hope I was able to break down the 3 ways that you can lose your EMD, and I hope you guys have that in the back of your mind when you start your home buying process and you realize it's kind of hard to lose the EMD, but it's very common. So you want to make sure that you are on point, communication is on point, you're not wasting anybody's time, and you're just hitting those marks on the timeline of the contract. Really want you guys to like and subscribe. Don't forget to comment. Check out all my other content, and I truly appreciate you guys. Hey, what's going on, guys? Don't accept reality here. I have an ebook out called The Active Duty and Veteran First Time Home Buyers Guide. And in my guide, I'm giving you a step-by-step process on how to reach home ownership comfortably and with knowledge, and it's just preparing you for the unexpected, things that I wish I would have known when going through my home buying process. The link to the ebook is in the description. Check it out, and I truly appreciate you guys.